Hey piggy, hey piggy, don't make me go back to that 9 to 5. Wage cut ain't no way to be alive. Don't make me go back to 9 to 5. Wage cut ain't no way to be alive. Ooh. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chat. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chance. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chance. Hey piggy, just give me one. Ooh.
When I'm with my boo, 1 and 1 miss 2, then it mix free. Yeah, we had the baby. She want Versace, she want Gucci. Gotta lay down all my bands on the Lambo, cause she don't like my Volvo, no, no. Yeah, she got a diamond grill on her baby teeth. Coolest kid in the nursery, but you know, I'm not a materialist, an idealist. I flow with the transcendental argument. Reading Wittgenstein, investigate my girl philosophically. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? I just want the money.
Hey piggy, just give me one more super chat. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chance. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chance. Hey piggy,
Yeah,
just give me one.
yeah,
Ooh.
straight up, I'm simple for you, girl. I want my heart, want you in my world. I see you in the super chat, I see you wanna go from me. I see you on the OnlyFans and you've got my heart in your hand. Please don't crush it, girl, understand that I'm a simp, but I'm proud. I'm a geek, but I'm proud. And I wanna feel your breath at a convention. I want my picture of you groping my ass to be on social media. I want my friends to see it on Discord. I'm gonna upload it to my subreddit and they all gonna see it. My friends, they gonna like it, they gonna retweet it, but I feel that it's gonna be the greatest moment of my life, and I want you to be a part of it, girl. Yeah.
Don't make me go back to that 9 to 5. Wage cut ain't no way to be alive. Don't make me go back to 9 to 5. Wage cut ain't no way to be alive. Ooh. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chat. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chance. Hey piggy, just give me one more super chance. Hey piggy, just give me one. Ooh. Hey piggy, just give me.
Shonak on the beat.
Girl, why you backbiting, whispering, DMing, and talking, texting? I don't like that. It hurts my feelings.
Girl, you always out there just straight gossiping. Why you wanna do it when I got you bling? Girl, you just out there just straight up gossiping. Always out there in the streets just gossiping. Texting, 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 doing nasty things. All you wanna do is just straight gossiping. Girl, why you wanna gossip? I took you on that trip. I gave you all that stuff, all that junk. And you just wanna gossip. Hurt my feelings, girl. Why you wanna do that to me? When I got you all those things, got you all those things, got you all the things. Gossiping. Why you wanna hurt me with your gossiping? Backbiting ain't nothing to all of me. Backbite, DM, and texting. Why you wanna do that to me? Gossiping. Telling my friends I got a little bitty thing. we just straight up gossiping. Sending nasty texts to my grandmama. Even Granny thinks that I'm a loser now.
Girl, why you wanna do that? It's just mean, straight up spiteful, gross. And it's also hurtful too. It's called gossiping. Perhaps if you looked it up, you would know it's wrong.
Gossiping. Why you wanna do that straight up gossiping? Girl, 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 tag, tag. Ooh, I'm in love with a hobbit. Don't you try to stop it. Throw your little piece of it. Cause I'm in love with a. Ooh, I'm on elf ears. Feeling all your fears. Crying little man tears. Crying cause I'm a little bitch. A bitch with a sassy fit. A sassy little backpack. Full of lemon spread. Full of little lemon spread. Put on a little bit of lemon spread. Lemon spread on lemon spread. Itty bitty, oh. Feeling on elf ears. Feeling all of your fears. Willow versus evil witch. Nasty little son of a bitch. Willow versus evil witch. Sassy little bitch. Sassy little rat.
Sassy little Frodo.
Back in Elijah Wood. Back in where you know I should. Back a little limbus bed. Limbus bed. Back a little limbus bed. Goes good with mustard. Ooh, 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 ooh. Love with a hobbit. Don't you try to stop it. Throw a little hiss of it. Cause I'm in. Ooh.
I just want to adore you. You got your teeth infected, the T-virus, yeah. I just want to ignore you. It's straight up Anunnaki, anarchy in my mouth. I just want to adore you. You got your teeth infected, the T-virus, yeah. I just want to ignore you. It's straight up Anunnaki, anarchy in my mouth. Dental rebellion, tea and crumpets with the queenie, yeah. What the hell is a crumpet? Yellow tea and yellow teeth, yeah. It's Resident Evil, the T-virus, yeah. British eyes with British thighs. Her thighs also have their own thighs, yeah. All seeing eyes now. All seeing eyes upon her thighs, yeah. My eyes are infected. My eyes are infected, and it's from you. My teeth are in anarchy, and they just run away from you now. My teeth are in anarchy, and they just run away from me too. My teeth are infected, and I just want to ignore you.
My teeth are in anarchy. My teeth are in anarchy. My teeth are in anarchy, and they just run away from you. My teeth are in anarchy, and they just run away from you. I'm simpy simp. I'm simpy simp.
Bet you at that party, girl. You had a
Limpy limp.
I thought it was because you was all jazzed up, but you had a
Snub leg.
snub leg, girl. But I still fell in love with you. Still fell in love. And you know what happened after that? I'm a simpy simp. That's right. You stole my
Party heart.
with your arty art, because you're an art hope. I met you at that art class, and then we went to that party where you
Lefty left.
with that other dude. It was not me.
I'm not that dude.
It's all very mystical, but I'm
Skeptical.
because I keep having to pay the bills. I pay them
Billy Bills.
for that new guy named Billy. That's your boyfriend. I pay for your boyfriend's Billy bills. We watched that one cartoon, girl. Remember that? We used to watch some cartoons together. I think that cartoon had a name. It did have a name. Our relationship was like a cartoon, girl. What cartoon was that?
Ren and Simpy.
We watched that cartoon, girl. Ren and
Simpy simp.
when he left you and you came back to me, that was called a
Pumpy dump. A dumpy pump.
Quasimodo. Quasimodo. Got lots of bitches calling me on my mobile. Quasimodo. I got a natural flesh patch right there for my mobile. I live a life Quasimodo. My bitches be calling me Master Modo. You don't even understand this Flodo. When I get older, will I still have an effed up shoulder? Quasimodo. High school kids making fun of me and call me Play-Doh. On this back part right here, just this part is Play-Doh. Quasimodo. I'm up in my castle. It's very dank.
I found her, humpback chick, she was stank on it. Quasimodo, looking for a Quasimodo.
Quasimodo. You don't even understand.
It's like it's a little bit
It's flesh
on your back like
right here. This right here.
I got a little brother
On my shoulder.
Quasimodo. I got smarter with
Modified Lambo.
so that I can drive in a weird way inside a modified
Lambo.
Whoa. You don't even understand my flow though.
By the way,
Very helpful for my therapy. Quasimodo.
I'm just in the mood, so we're gonna be doing this one too. Aren't y'all in the mood? And this is the song is not copyrighted, so you get away with it. Welcome everybody. It's a balmy Thursday night, whatever night this is. They all blend together in my head. I don't even know. It's all relative, dude. Daytime, nighttime, up, down, left, right. Time is illusion, bro. Didn't you know? I smoked that DMT one time. I smoked a little bit of that Joe Rogan one time. And now time is relative. I've pierced the veil. As you guys know, I am also now musical performing artist, signed to the Cringecore label. And I perform my songs live. I performed twice in concert live as a musician. Have groupies now. One of the songs I forgot the lyrics to, but that's okay because all the other ones came out good. I did good on those, according to my own personal assessments of my performances. So I'm officially a musical artist as well as all the other titles, and you have to treat me and honor me as such. So let's begin the day. Let's begin with our vocal practice. Today's song for practice is Alex Jones' folk song.
That's why we're trying to do simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source, the God.
Let's do it, baby.
Transcend the New World Order. That's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murdering skulls, building giant death factories, keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum.
They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green skin and they run around screaming, "We love Satan, we wanna eat babies." I have them on video. Hitler's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. He sleeps in the same room with a creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. Woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I told her and Obama just stink. And Hillary both smell like sulfur. That's bass. I'm singing bass. Little real vampire pot-bellied goblins hobbling around looking after us. Until it gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap, we don't even notice hell itself rising up against us.
Millions are pouring in, people of the very West. Man, I'm so pissed.
Yo, down at the mall. Oh,
you ever have your son?
you with a butcher knife, and the police chief is gonna say, "We love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so sweet. Oh, they're so sweet." I was just practicing. That wasn't even real. That was practice. I'm talking about practice. I'm talking about Alvin Iverson's practice. I'm talking about practice. Y'all like I went full Mariah Carey up here, and then I kicked it down like a damn bass CD from 1993. Bass! I want more bass! My voice was essentially a subwoofer. And then it went to high C, Mariah Carey. It went to high C. It went to Sunny D. What are you going to do about that? It's going to melt your mind. I got too much. There's too much allergies in the air right now. I can't even breathe. I don't even know how I did that. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to have fun. Fun stream with analysis, with laughter and tears. A range of emotions. Edutainment. Infotainment. That's what we specialize in here. Some say we might be the best. I'll let you decide. The best at edutainment, infotainment. What do y'all think? Who's better? Name one person who's got a better, funnier, wilder, weirder, high IQ thing than this. Not many. There's some good ones out there. I got to admit, there's some good ones. All right. Are we done with the... I get into these music modes, and then I want to just like sing forever. But there's only like a handful of songs that I can actually sing, and there's only a handful that you can get away with copyright-wise. So they need to... communism needs to take over music so that it becomes all decentralized, so that I can sing those songs, then make it private property again, so that I can capitalize on those songs and buy me a fleet of Mercedeses. Tough titties. How many Rolls Royces does Osho have? He has 14, and the next week it will be 15. Like Sheila said, tough titties. All right. What's going on now? I don't even know where we at. Originally, I was going to do a stream called How to Be Rich and Cool. But then I thought, people won't get it. They'll be, he's being pretentious. Because I'm not technically rich, and the verdict is still out on cool. But it sounded like a fun idea for a stream. But then I was like, nah, we got to cover the news and what's going on. And these Rogans just pile up, and I haven't caught up on these. And we've been asked multiple times, when are you going to cover this Quentin Tarantino and Rogan? I'm shutting your butt down, Joe Rogan. I'm going to shut your freaking butt down, Joe Rogan. Okay? I'm not here for you. You're here for me. Okay? Get that straight. Okay? That's my Quentin. I thought I did a pretty good Jesse Lee. Did y'all hear my Jesse Lee Peterson? That's amazing.
You look like my Bill Vader. Is you a gay? Are you a taught? It looks like you're a taught. Are you scared of white people? Why are you scared of them? Do you love white people? Do you love women? Women is the gates of hell. Evil to come to the women. The gates of hell that open up is a woman. Evil has come to the woman. Who is it exactly that you want for white people? That's amazing. How did you get to be gay? Is you gay first? Where did you get that? The Jesus is not the God, he's the Son of God. He can't be the God if he's the Son of God. That's amazing.
That was alright. Remember, the funniest comment from him is when he told Jamie Kennedy why you start your own laughing club? A laughing club. For some reason, calling a comedy club a laughing club is like the funniest thing in my mind. Yes, sir. Let's kick it off with what are my thoughts on the flyers. And I'm not trying to make light of it because we do have a lot of friends in the California, Los Angeles area. We don't want them to have anything bad happen to them. So I hope everybody's okay. But this is my thoughts right here, immediately. My quick thoughts.
It fits into the deindustrialization of the West and the rewilding of America.
And y'all like my use of that TikTok song? That's the classic conspiracy TikTok song. Boom, boom, boom. and then the other one is a.
Oh, I say that. If you go back several decades and you look up, for example, the 1992 Rio Earth Summit, where Bush Sr. was there talking about the possibility of imposing intense restrictions like carbon taxes, was really controlling life, since we're carbon-based life forms. That's what we are. That's controlling us. And it's not really about protecting the environment. It's about handing over large swaths of land to corporations that actually run the government. So it's a corporate controlled governance model. And that limits to growth, which the Club of Rome published, and which is a United Nations plan. We've all heard of Agenda 2030. These are all part of the same plan to essentially take over public lands and private lands and hand them over to a corporate world governance model, the technocracy. That could be what they're planning with this.
That came out pretty good. Now, these little bitty clips, I don't get many views on those, except on, this did okay. 20,000 is okay on that, but I get more views on these on Instagram for some reason. I don't know why, but the fire. All right, let's talk about this. Yes, I knew this was a fake image. Hence why I said that it was prophetic, apocalyptic, and symbolic. Hence, symbolic. So that's my thoughts on the fire. Of course, Lord Voldemort made some great points today that it fits into DEI and all that for sure, and the overlooked element, which I have to give credit to Matt Forney. We've known Matt for a long time. I think one of my first podcasts that I uploaded on Spreaker ages ago was Matt. And Matt had a good comment that the LA wildfires are not simply a product of Democrat incompetence. This is so key. I'm glad he noticed this. But actually, economic disaster due to financial firms and others trying to force climate change nonsense and regulations. ESG, DEI, all that. That's a huge part of it. But not just DEI, affirmative action, but also climate change. And so Matt goes on to say that Moody's announced that it would be downgrading the credit rating of any state or government that failed to take climate actions. We heard, of course, Larry Fink from BlackRock pointing out twice in the last few years that they would enforce on every corporation that they could these standards regardless of what the laws were. So this is all about technocracy, control, deindustrialization, and that's why I appreciated Matt's angle. And Matt's angle fits in perfectly to my little video, which was really a summation of what Lord Voldemort pointed out in yesterday's show. So I don't know exactly what's going on. I think that's a big part of it. All of the angles that people are throwing out there, they're all like partially correct. So when people talk about the socialist democrat model of how blue cities, blue states end up collapsing and running, that's a huge part of it, obviously. And then there was a video that's been going around where a guy was talking about, there's 2 billionaires that own all of the water in California, and that's a big part of it. It's not a state issue, it's a privatization issue. This whole stupid debate always goes on, and people get caught up in the false dialectic of private versus public, libertarian versus the state. The corporations own the state, and they have for a long time. And socialism, in my view, as you guys know, and I'll argue to the death over this, is a wealthy, mega-rich creation. Socialism is a scam run by very powerful, wealthy people. So there's nothing inconsistent with the privatization of things like water by zillionaire oligarchs and socialist policies for the rest of society. That's exactly how the real power elite run things. That's kind of the Fabian socialist model. And that's what we've been talking about for so long over here on this channel. And what happened this week, huge news, regardless of what you think of Elon Musk, there was this huge row on Twitter, which was a good thing. And I don't agree with all the ideas of Musk, obviously. As you guys know, I helped to contribute to one of the most popular videos of the last 9 days. But it was nice to see the Fabian socialist Keir Starmer. And in case you didn't know, yes, Keir Starmer is a Fabian socialist. The Labour Party is the Fabian Socialist Party. They renamed it that many decades ago. And so he was asked, I don't know when this was, a couple years ago, hey, Keir, Are you a Fabian socialist? Yes, in many ways. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Ed Miliband. Yeah, all of these horrible, degenerate British leaders going way back. Blair, all these people are members of the Fabian Socialist Party, and even if they're not, they might as well be. For example, the fake conservative Tory, all that stuff, they're just the same fake dialectic, so they might as well be. And as you guys know, we've lectured through the history of these things, these parties, these groups, with the Johan Ratu book, Milner Fabian Conspiracy book was a great text. We lectured through that. That's some of the big fat geopolitical texts that we lectured through on my channel. But it was nice to see all of the SEX network stuff blowing up as something that is being called attention to. Now, have your criticisms of Tommy Robinson. People like to make it about, oh, it's all about Tommy Robinson. It's all about the actual power elite and how they run these things. And there's not just Muslim grooming gangs. There's also SEX gangs, Jeff Stein McEffrey stuff, all across the board. And everybody always wants to deflect it into, no, all those guys are the bad guys. It's not the Muslims that are the bad guys. It's the other people of the Middle East. Oh, no, it's all the Muslims that are the bad guys. Every power block has a lot of bad guys in it. That's the point. So, the reason I'm talking about that is that there's been a focus on that in the last the last week of Twitter drama, with Elon basically just blasting out tweets every day about Keir Starmer. I don't know exactly what's going on with people keep asking, what about they're going to make Canada America and Mexico America and it's the North American Union? Is this satire? I honestly cannot tell. I don't see how that's possible. So I don't know if people are thinking that jokes are legit, or look, there's not enough time in the day to follow all this stuff. I finished Secret Agent by Conrad, which that is finally ready to do. I'm trying to also write my book. I'm trying to also prepare for lectures and convention stuff. I'm almost finished with this book. It's taking me forever to do all of this because I can't keep up with everything. You couldn't even keep up with half of the big news stories on Twitter. So, he won't cover Trump's push for North American Union. I don't know if it's real. I haven't had time to even cover it. I'm looking at fires, then I'm looking at millions of Joe Rogan podcasts going. I can't keep up with all this stuff. Who can, dude? Nobody can. And then I get 50 DMs every day. Well, what about this? When are you going to talk about this? What about this? Well, this guy's talking about you with 500 followers. I don't care. Don't send me the tweets of the 500 follower people that are bitching about me. That's the big pet peeve for me. Is when you send me the messages and updates that this guy with 500 followers is talking bad about you and he says that you suck. Oh, thank you for distracting me with the limited amount of time that I have in the day to cover all of the other retorted material that I must cover. Anyway, so Matt Forney's comments were good. Lord Voldemort's comments were good. I don't know why this doesn't get any traction. Does anybody remember the Dominique Strauss-Kahn story? Because somebody was talking about that this stuff doesn't exist again. Oh, there's no such thing as high-level SEX parties. I remember following all of this at the time as it was breaking when Dominique Strauss-Kahn was involved in all this SEX stuff. And he was probably blackmailed. And the New York Times reported at the time, this big banker, big French European banker, that, oh yeah, he attends Marquis de Sade mass ball eyes wide shut parties. No big deal. And it's like the way the New York Times writes it up. It's like, oh, they're just like spring break parties. they're just spring break libertine parties. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Other articles were talking about all the BDS stuff. So what? Oh, it don't exist. It don't exist. it's not real. Anyway, this was before everybody heard of Jeff Stein McCaffrey, so that one popped in my head today as we were scrolling through the news. There was one other thing I was going to point out before we moved on to the Gel Mibson. Yeah, here's all this discussion of the covering up of the grape gangs. That was all covered up. And then I linked here my lecture on Milner, Fabian, etc. So that's what you got to understand the bigger picture. And the reason you want to understand the bigger picture is that so that you don't get caught up in the lower tier dialectics that everybody gets caught up in, and that everybody argues on Twitter, and nobody ever gets anywhere, and no progress is ever made because nobody ever understands the big picture. So the key, I think, is always taking the daily ruckus news story and explaining it in the meta political level, explaining on the big scale. But nobody ever does that because everybody's dumb. People are just freaking stupid. And that's what I realized this morning when I woke up. Not that I didn't already know that, but so I don't know. What do we do to get everybody smarter? How do we transmit IQs to everybody? And I understand that it's not all about IQ, but that's part of it. All right, let's get into the Josh Groban experience. The Joe Rogan experience. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, I still call it Twitter. It's been Twitter for forever. Go ahead and hop on over here. All you lovely YouTube people, right there is the link. There's the link to follow me on Twitter. I'm almost to 100K. I want to have a 100K party over here. So you can have your cake. And I'll bring out the big balloons. I want y'all to have your cake and your big balloons like Katy Perry sings. But we can't do that until y'all get me to 100K. Where you at? I know a bunch of y'all over here. We got almost 1,400 people over here on YouTube at one point. A minute ago, we had 14. I started talking about my double D's and people ran away. Why are you running? Are you scared of beauty? Are you scared of aesthetics? Does lust scare you? Did my double D's intimidate you? Does Katy Perry intimidate you? You're scared of a successful, independent woman? Look at you, fearful. You a beta. Beta. That's a beta. Anyway, let's go over here into the Mel Gibson. No, let's see. Do we want to? Let's start with what is this? I'm all mixed up. Let's start with Chalk.com. That's our sponsor. It's the best in supplementation. If you use the promo code JAY44LIFE, that's JAY44LIFE, you get 44% off all those great products over at Chalk, especially the Performance Stack, the male enhancement performance. I'm talking about guns, baby. I'm talking about toxic masculinity, off the charts, meta, next level. If you use the promo code JAY44LIFE, J44Life, I highly recommend the Chad Mode, the Tonkat Lee, and all those other great products over at Chalk.com. Let's see. Let's start with the Eyes Wide Shut thing, because this is a little bit a couple weeks ago, and so many people were like, "Where you at on this, dude? Where you at, boy?" All right, I'm getting to it. I'm sorry. I'm my own man. I make my own podcasts. I don't have time to watch everyone else's podcasts. I wish I did. I'm trying.
The Joe Rogan experience.
The Kubrick was such an odd one. Like his.
And I don't even know how much of these can you actually play. Well, am I going to get flagged? I mean, is it going to be dinged if I play like? So I might have to pause it and comment. Maybe we'll come over here and sing some more songs in the midst of this so that we don't get dinged. If I don't have any intelligent hot take comment, I'll just hop on over here and sing Return of the Mac. That sounds like what we ought to do. That sounds like the whole damn stream ought to be that, but I'm gonna mix it up for y'all. What's it called? Karaoke. Y'all heard of karaoke? Karaoke. Here's the one. Here's my version right here. Now, don't worry, we're not doing it right now. I gotta have it on backup. Relax. Take it easy. Chill out. The only allowance for not being chill is if you've snorted your chalk for the day. Don't snort it. That's a joke. All right. Now, Roger Avery, of course, worked with Quentin for many years on several projects, and so we're going to hear Roger Avery's theory on Kubrick. I don't actually know what Kubrick's, or what his theory is, or what his position is. Vivian messages me quite often about her thoughts on things, but I can't convince her to do a podcast with me. She's still reticent to do a discussion.
Films are so different. And he was a weird guy, too. He did, like, complex mathematics in his spare time.
I do complex mathematics in my spare time. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, he's a weird guy, but he was also, I think, thinking 3 steps ahead of everybody at any...
I think everybody... Hollywood's full of a lot of nerds, you know what I mean? Like, you don't realize how many nerds are in Hollywood. That was like the nerdiest laugh ever. And this is like some big producer. What was that laugh, dude?
Kind of given moment. I mean, to be honest, I was just thinking, I just pulled my script from Eyes Wide Shut. I had a script that was from set, and I was reading it over the weekend, and I saw that it has this, I mean, I've known this for a long time, but I started really thinking about it over the weekend. It's missing a narration.
By the way, every time I talk about Eyes Wide Shut, which is the biggest video on my channel, my little mini documentary, obviously it played a big role in the first Esoteric Hollywood book that I wrote. Everyone asks me this question, and I think I'm not being rude, but when people ask me this question, it kind of tells me they didn't read my book, because my book is not speculating on Kubrick conspiracies of his life and death. The book is film analysis and symbolism, so I don't spend a whole lot of time. I've talked a little bit about Kubrick's life, but every interview for 10 years almost that I've done on Esoteric Hollywood, somebody asked me about this, and I don't know, so I'm interested to hear what Avery's view is.
A third-person narration that was originally in the movie. And that's because the movie was recut and changed after his death. And they will deny it. But as a student of Kubrick, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, Kubrick wouldn't do that.
Now, this is what everyone has said, and it'd be interesting to know if this is true. Maybe I'll ask Vivian if this is the case. I would assume she knows. I don't think she would have any reason not to be truthful about it. She seems pretty committed to a lot of legit conspiracy theories. So I'm gonna ask her what she thinks about this clip.
Kubrick wouldn't do that either. Kubrick would have trimmed this scene.
I didn't know they recut it after his death.
Okay, so apparently
I think they finished it.
Well, that's the party line.
That's their version.
That's the party line. But I think that they changed the notes, the close-ups, the inserts of the notes. I think those are changed. It's missing a narration. It's definitely missing a narration. A third-person narration like that.
So wait, was that Quentin backing this up? He thinks that there is truth to that. Interesting.
The prostitute who's died, and he's at the morgue, and he's looking at her, and he's like leaning over her. It's a bed for narration. There's this whole thing. What they do instead, because
I'm trying to attract some Hollywood cred right here. Yo, Tarantino, what's up, boy? I'm a fan, dog. What's up?
I'm shutting your butt down. I'm shutting your butt down. I'm shutting your butt down. I'm here for you. Don't make the mistake of thinking that this is about you. This is about me, okay? I'm here for you.
Y'all like my Quentin Tarantino? I couldn't resist. It was just an obvious joke to make. Quentin Tarantino. And my Bare Feet was just sitting here. Now somebody's going to expose me. Oh, look at him. He's exposed. He's promoting foot degeneracy. Dude, if you think feet are a thing, you got the problem. I don't know whoever came up with feet being a thing. Japanese people, Chinese princesses. I don't know who came up with that. But feet are just for walking, dude. It's not a organ of that type. So get out of here with your feet stuff. That's weird. Anyway, that was a joke for people that don't understand.
They couldn't say that Kubrick finished the movie because they hadn't done the recording of the narrator yet. And so maybe they just kind of kludged it together, except there's an entire thread that's kind of been squashed in that film. And that's the two men that are throughout the movie that are constantly in the background of the film who eventually...
Now, I believe I do this. I think I talk about this. Let me see. I don't even remember. I haven't looked at my Eyes Wide Shut analysis in probably 6 years. I don't know. Let's see. Do I mention? Because I know I mentioned them being in the thing with the magic circle. So I argued that they were essentially being inducted. But I don't remember if the theory about their daughter being like walking away. I want to say Rob Ager proposed that first before anybody else, but I'm not 100% positive. I don't remember. I haven't analyzed Eyes Wide Shut, like I said, in many years. Let's see. Undergoing this dark enlightenment, Bill and Alice discuss what to do next. Opining that they should be grateful, Alice pauses. We should be grateful that we have managed to survive all of our adventures, whether they were real or a dream. Bill asks if she is sure, to which Alice responds, she will forgive one night of impertinence. No dream is ever just a dream, Bill says. Alice responds that they're awake now, and that they should go do dirty things. Thus, the film is working on many levels. Ritual journey, awakening, elite, power structure. So maybe I've mentioned Magic Circle because every time when they're in the Toy Story, they're surrounded by the Magic Circle imagery everywhere. But maybe I didn't mention the girl being given off to the two men later on. I think that is in them. I think that's what's going on.
In the final shots of the film, you see like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in that final scene in the toy store when she's looking at the Rosemary's Baby bassinet, which is totally Kubrick saying something. And they never take their eyes off their daughter until the moment they take their eyes off and the final line of the movie is coming up. You see those two guys walking off with the daughter. They're taking her away. They've given their daughter to the pedo cult. That's what's happened at the end of the movie.
Well, now, wait a minute. This is what my theory was overall in my analysis. So I didn't get that specific detail, but I did point out that they were initiated and it was this cult and that Alice was part of it. So overall, my analysis was correct. I did miss this detail, but here you go. I got like the top Hollywood people saying that my Eyes Wide Shut analysis was correct. And shout out to Rob Ager. And I did cite Rob Ager in my book when I felt like he made some insights. But my analysis of Eyes Wide Shut was before Rob Ager was doing his. Because years ago in the comments, I commented that to Rob Ager on his channel when he put out an analysis which didn't talk about anything to do with the occult stuff. It was just talking about the film as a film. And I said, hey, you've missed all the esoteric, real world elite expose stuff going on here. And he poo-pooed me in his comment reply. However, since all the Jeff Stein McEvery stuff came out, I wrote that analysis in 2010, my analysis, my original one. He's shifted over into, okay, yeah, maybe there is a lot of, esoteric occult stuff going on. And I think Vivian would back that up, Vivian Kubrick. I don't know if she would back up all my theories of what's going on. I'm just saying that the overall thesis, look, the elite have large-scale PEDO cult networks. That's how they control things. That's kind of basically the point of this movie. Now everyone agrees. But when I wrote my analysis in 2011 of this, my big, long first analysis of kind of kicked off Esoteric Hollywood, this was not what people thought. This was not the norm. Even the big analyzers, like Rob Ager, poo-pooed the idea. So, what I'm getting at here is, once again, I'm pretty much vindicated. Now, this video, this little mini documentary that I made, which is like my channel's biggest video, this was years after I'd written it, my analysis. So, point being, because even Esoteric Hollywood 1 came out 8-9 years ago, but I actually wrote the essay in 2011. So, I wrote my essay 13 years ago, and pretty much now everybody's on the same page as me. Oh, yeah, I'll quote. Yeah, that's what it's about. Even, like, top Hollywood people agree. So, there we go. Tarantino and Avery essentially vindicate my overall theory. So, shout out to me. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding about... You know what I'm kidding about. This is when I got back from the masked ball right here. Y'all remember that? Look at that. Boom, baby. Thank you guys. Y'all being generous tonight. It's so weird with super chats are a funny thing. Like, some nights you think, man, I'm on point tonight, and there's like $2 in super chats, and you're like, what the heck? But you guys are rolling in the dough tonight. Hopefully you're cashing in your Ripple to get some Bitcoin or something. So we got all the Bitcoin boys in the audience tonight who are making bank. How could you be making bank when it's going down? Bro, this is a discount. Every time Bitcoin dips, oh, going down to 50. Oh, I'm scared. Oh. I got people DMing me, dude, I'm scared. Shit about Bitcoin. Bro, of course. What are you talking about? But I can't tell you financial advice. Anyway, we got 1,500. What's up? Well, I'm glad I watched the clip because, again, you got Tarantino's pizza rolls over here talking about Eyes Wide Shut being what Jay Dyer said. I mean, he didn't say my name, but say my name, say my name. Isn't that's an R&B song, ain't it? Who that is? That Destiny Child? Is that Beyonce? Is that Beyonce Knowles? Did y'all know that Beyonce Knowles is a cousin of Michael Knowles? I'm just kidding. Did y'all know that Michael Knowles is the original founder of Destiny's Child, and Beyonce conspired to kick Michael Knowles out of Destiny's Child? Mm-hmm.
And there's an incident where, when they first screened the movie in England, people who were outside, this is all secondhand, by the way. There were people who were outside of the theater who could hear inside of the theater Kubrick yelling at all the executives and saying, it's my movie, you can't cut it. You can't fucking cut my film, blah, 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 blah. Big argument going on. Then he dies like 4 days later.
Oh, Jesus.
So somebody went in and finished the movie, but I think when they finished the movie, they hid the film. The movie got changed into something else. And I would love to finish that film.
I think everybody wants to see and that was it like 30 minutes are cut supposedly. I mean, again, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Supposedly 30 minutes are cut, probably because they thought this is too much for theater going audiences, you know. But it could be a conspiratorial thing. I don't know. We have to ask Vivian, see what she says. Let's see what she says. Anyway, interesting clip. Let's see if there's anything else in here.
Have you ever made an attempt?
I've thought about it, and reading the script over the weekend, I started seriously thinking about it. Well, somebody should recut this, or somebody should.
So it'd just be a matter of recutting it with narration?
Well, yes and no. There's obviously missing. There would be missing footage now. Things have been removed and
is that
taken
accessible?
Down. No, not unless you crack it open and there's no way anybody.
Here's the thing.
They would never.
But hold on. Here's the thing. now we have AI.
Well, I know that's you're one step ahead. I'm one step ahead.
Well, how is AI going to fill in what the missing footage is? I don't understand that thought process.
I've actually been experimenting a lot with AI.
Well, that was interesting. For those of you that did see the Tarantino, Avery, Rogan, can you let me know if there's other elements or other sections of the interview that I need to see, which would be relevant to what we talk about? Joe Rogan ought to have me on. I mean, I've been talking about this shit like way ahead of all these people. Shit. Boy. What's up? Everybody, if you would hit like and share. We had 1,500 people and 482 likes. What the hell is wrong with you, boy? What the hell is wrong with you? All right, next up, Wes Huff. I see. I have an email of somebody who sent me the timestamps of what they think I should check out. So let's see. Let's hear a little bit of what Wes says about the Protestant Reformation. I'm assuming this is going to be kind of cringy because, of course, this is
if you live in one of these
where we would primarily disagree, obviously, with Wes Huff. Now, somebody said, are you going to debate Wes Huff? Well, I would definitely debate Wes Huff. I have absolutely no... I'm not trying to be arrogant, but there's not really anybody that I would be afraid to debate. I mean, I'm just being honest. There's not anybody I'm afraid to debate. Now, I don't know textual studies that well. That's not my area. So I'm not going to debate that stuff with Wes Huff because I don't know textual studies. But I will debate any of the controversial issues such as canonicity, Protestantism, solas, right? But Wes Huff made a video saying that because he's had such a outpouring of attention and DMs and offers that he does not have the time to debate everybody, and he said he likes to prepare like 6 months ahead for debates. Like 6 months. Dude, I mean, I don't understand like preparing for a debate, but 6 months ahead for a debate, seems like what? I got it, like, you got a lot of things going on, okay, sure, but again, I mean, it's 6 months, it's a lot, but alright, so let's slow down. Ruslan said months ago, the next time that you're in California, he's in San Diego or whatever. We usually go to LA a couple times a year for stuff. He said, you can come on. Of course I will go on Ruslan's thing and debate him or whoever. I don't think Gavin Orland wants to... All these people, they act like really pious, and then they'll act like I'm too mean to associate with. That's all just excuses. I think we all know that by now. But, yeah, of course I will go on Ruslan's show and talk to him about whatever. But I don't really know why everybody's talking about Ruslan all of a sudden today. Not that I care. I mean, did he make some new comment? I know he said that me and Andrew and other people like always debate, but he said most people can't be in debate mode. I mean, I thought the comments were positive. I appreciate his comments. So, yes. So the next time that we are in LA, if it's still there, of course I'll go on Ruslan's show. I mean, if he will have me. He said he would have me on, so of course. Now, can Wes Huff do cringecore rap or singing? No. So I've got that market cornered. We already know he's lost there. But point being in all that rambling is just that, no, I don't think Wes Huff will do a debate because he put out a video saying that he's not going to debate all the people asking him to debate. So I would probably just be classed amongst all the people asking him to debate. But for the record, of course I would debate Wes Huff. There's literally no one that I'm afraid to debate. Literally. And I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I'm not afraid to debate anybody. I mean, we've got Muhammad Hijab, fake name, says that he won't debate because I'm not a popular kid. I mean, it's like who would I be afraid to debate? Every Muslim we've said yes to. Even on the spot. Like, will you hop on over here and debate Muslim Latin? Yeah, sure. Debate Sneeko on Muslim Latin? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, of course I'd debate Wes Huff on Protestantism. Let's do it. And once again, the Roman Catholics are running. They don't want to debate. Nobody will debate the geopolitics of the papacy. Not one of them. I even reached out to some random new Roman Catholic apologists that I never even heard of. New ones. And they won't debate. Now, I've asked James Lindsay 3 times to debate. Not interested. So all the people that y'all asked me to debate will not do it. Anyway, enough of that. Let's see what Wes Huff says about the Prot Reformation. Are his arguments convincing? Thank you to the guy that sent me the timestamps for both Wes Huff and Mel Gibson. It looks like he talks about, here's the list: Protestant Reformation, Luther's exegesis, relying on priests. I'm not sure what he means there. Intelligent design, Terence McKenna. We got to hear that. I got to hear what he says on Terence McKenna. That sounds funny. Gnostics, the canon of Scripture. Okay, we got to hear that one. Joe Rogan critiquing atheists. That's a weird one. The Second Coming of Christ, and Wes Huff's critique of Jordan Peterson. We got to check that one out. All right, so let's start with the Protestant Reformation and Luther. Let's see what Wes Huff says. And by the way, I do not know what any of the comments are. I've not seen any of this. You are getting the raw, fresh, ad-lib, improv Dyer experience that you all have come to know and love on this channel.
Forever, which that was what Lutheranism was all about, right? Like Martin Luther wanted to have phonetic translations of the Bible, and there was a lot of resistance to that because the people that knew how to read Latin were like, hey, slow down.
Yeah.
So that's not actually correct. The first English translation of the Bible was a Catholic translation of the Bible. There were some errors in that translation, though, so other people wanted better translations. But this is a not true kind of story that floats around that, well, the Orthodox and the Catholic Church, they suppressed the Bible and they didn't want it translated. The Orthodox would criticize Rome, of course, for overemphasizing Latin when the liturgy and the scriptures should always be in the vernacular. That's a patristic practice. In fact, the Latin Vulgate is called the Vulgate because it was the vulgar language of the people.
Partly, I mean, there were proto-reformers before Luther. Were guys really? like Wycliffe. So John Wycliffe and William Tyndale both translated the Bible, parts of the Bible into English, and they predate it.
They did, but those translations were also notoriously problematic, which is one of the reasons that the Catholics wanted an English translation in the West. Of course, you guys know I am no fan of the papacy, but it is true that Catholics actually were the first English translators.
I mean, and they weren't very popular for it either. I mean, Wycliffe was declared a heretic, and then his body was exhumed and burned because of the work that he did. But yeah,
burned him after he was already dead.
Yeah, well, Tyndale's line was that he wanted, I believe it was Tyndale. It was either Wycliffe or Tyndale. My friends who are specialists in this are going to get mad at me for this. But one of those two guys said that they wanted the plowboy to be able to read the Bible and know it as well as the priests. And so that was their motivation, is that they're like, public education for literacy.
This is kind of true, but it's also a lot of like Protestant propaganda in this story. This is like a classic sort of Protestant story that they love to tell about. Once upon a time, the evil priests were suppressing the Bible, and together with Wycliffe and John Huss, Martin Luther rose up for the people and translated the Bible so that they could read it for themselves. And this is just like not even true. It's dumb, right? This propaganda kind of story like that. It reminds me of I remember when I was a Protestant, when I first started reading church history, this is fun. Like the first church history book I read when I was an evangelical Protestant was Fox's Book of Martyrs, which looking back, man, oh God, it's so stupid. Like, I mean, the Fox's Book of Martyrs is full of all these like ridiculous heretics, but because they oppose the Church of Rome and like, is that it? Like, what else did they do? I don't know what else they did that was noble. Somehow that constitutes this Book of Martyrs. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, you got these Anabaptists that are like anti-Trinitarian, quacks, kooks, but they're martyrs because of standing. I mean, it's just dumb.
In these areas was largely because they just wanted people to read the Bible. But that was a big motivation behind Luther. Was he's like, I'm going to translate this thing to German, because part of his kind of kicking off of the what we call the Protestant Reformation was that he read the Bible in Greek, because there was a guy named Desiderius Erasmus who was they call them humanists, but it means something different than now. This
is all stuff I've talked about a million times, but also if you want to read a funny debate, read Luther's debate with Jan Eck, which is it's a good book. It's a funny debate. Obviously, I disagree with both of them. And some of the citations, for example, that Jan Eck uses to refute Luther were forgeries. Some of obviously the papal stuff. But in a lot of other areas, actually Eck gets the upper hand on Luther. So I think Jan Eck won that debate, Johann Eck, but that doesn't mean that I'm a papist.
For like scholars who were trying to figure out the entirety of human knowledge up until that point.
Wow.
Like Renaissance men, kind of, right? So Desiderius Erasmus is like one of the last true Renaissance men. But he was compiling, and he produced the first printed edition of the Greek New Testament. And so he comes out with this printed edition of the Greek New Testament, and Luther gets his hands on it. And so he's reading that, and he notices that
one thing that's funny is that there was not universal education, right? Education and being literate, being a man of letters, was something typically restricted to the upper class, nobility, people with money, and people with titles. So it's absurd to assume that, well, they were hiding the Bible. People couldn't read. What are you talking about? And it was the same in the ancient world. So just from the outset, Protestantism is just stupid and ahistorical, because it expects that medieval peasants and ancient world peasants and mud farmers were somehow going to read through all of these texts in Hebrew and Greek and suss out the plain, simple meaning of the Hebrew and the Greek. I mean, this is just so retorto. It's just so ahistorical and idiotic to think that that's what God expected, and also sola scriptura, when there was no fixed canon for several centuries of the church. How could you have sola scriptura when most of the churches didn't have a complete canon? I mean, it's just kind of mindless. It's weird, too, to be a textual scholar. I'm not knocking his textual studies, and I appreciate him destroying that goofball Billy Corson. But every textual scholar should at some point think, well, who put the books into the Bible, known as the books known as the Big Book Bible? Like, did it just like come together magically? Was there any human synergy or decision involved in that centuries post-apostolic decision about what books would go in the Bible? It's just weird, especially if you're a textual scholar, to not at least some point think about this. Maybe he has, but one of the things that eventually made me leave Protestantism was precisely this point, that when I was reading Protestant textual scholars and historians like F.F. Bruce or Westcott Hort or Westcott and Hort or Lee MacDonald or Winkenhausen is, I think, a Jesuit one, or maybe he's Anglican, I don't remember. There's a whole bunch of these. I have a whole section, a whole shelf on like canonicity and this kind of stuff. They all admit the role of Yaroslav Pelikan, too, his book, Whose Bible, Which Tradition. Like, they all admit that tradition is absolutely necessary, both to knowing the authorship of the Gospels and the texts, and which ones were considered authoritative and included in the canon. I mean, it's just ludicrous to me that people think you can. They can do textual studies, and they spend their life studying these things, and that's what's expected of everyone to know the truth. In other words, Protestantism presupposes everybody's supposed to be a textual scholar to know how to interpret the text. So this idiot argument that Luther just wanted every plowboy to know the text is dumb, because every plowboy doesn't know Hebrew and Greek and can't. But the Protestant position assumes that you got to know Hebrew and the Greek to really know the meaning of the self-authenticating, self-attesting, perspicuous scriptures. Do you not see how silly that is?
Matthew's gospel, the word that's in the Latin is penitentium agate, do penance. In Greek is metanoite, which is...
This is actually correct, but this would actually prove just the older Orthodox critique of the Latin Vulgate and the mistranslation there, that it doesn't say do penance, it says repent.
Repentance. And the church was using this as like, you need to do penance. You need to, do all of this stuff to show that you're sorry. And part of that was, paying the church. And Luther reads this and he goes, hey.
I do not speak Hebrew. I'm not trained in Greek. I'm a philosophy student. So, but that's the thing, is that it's silly. These people who go and do all these textual studies, and it's a lot of Protestants that do this, they are just like the Muslims. Like, they think the religion is a book. What does Jesus say? You search the text because you think that it is in them that you have eternal life, when it is they that bear witness of me.
Guys, this means something different. This means repentance. It means changing your mind. It doesn't mean like to actually do things. And so part of his motivation is like
well, that's not actually true. I mean, it's correct that repentance means to change your mind, but it also assumes that you do works worthy of repentance, as Peter says, I think, in the New Testament. So, no. That is presupposing the sola scriptura, justification by faith alone position. Let's see. He's talking about Luther's exegesis here.
Latin isn't reflecting, at least at the point that Latin had developed in that day. Like maybe when Jerome translates the Latin Vulgate back in the 4th century, and it's called the Vulgate because Vulgata means like regular. Like you think of vulgar, right? It's just a regular.
That's what I just said. So here you have a Protestant textual scholar admitting a lot of the points I say.
People language. Part of the reason was that in the 4th century, very few people were reading Greek. They were reading Latin. And so they're like, hey, Jerome, you need to...
No, very few people were reading. So this is the Protestant problem here. It's like Protestants think that you can just go to your local Roman market and buy a KJV or something and like just start reading it or something. It's just idiotic.
Produce a Bible in Latin because nobody can read the Bible anymore. And so he produces the Latin Vulgate. And ironically, by the time you get to Luther, 1,000 years later, no one can read Latin, and they're all using the Vulgate.
Wow, that is fascinating. Wow.
And even Erasmus was, so he dedicates his first few editions to the Pope because he knows that the Pope is going to get wind.
When is Joe Rogan going to have an Orthodox person on? So we got Wes Huff and we got Mel Gibson. When are we going to get an Orthodox person on there? Let's see. He goes on to say that they were just relying on the priests. I mean, again, that's an over-exaggeration because most people, again, were not literate. So, yeah, you have to rely on your priests, just like everybody in the ancient world in the New Testament relied on the priests when most of them couldn't read. Let's see what he says about Terence McKenna, 2:12:30. This is going to be interesting here. Let's see. I'm guessing that Joe Rogan's going to bring up something about Gnostics. I don't know. Let's see. Because I can't understand why Terence McKenna would be relevant to this conversation unless Joe Rogan had to bring in the whole DMT. What's that stupid Terence McKenna theory?
The stoned ape theory. The monkeys were tripping balls one day, and they just got consciousness magically as a principle of evolutionary theory.
That's literally what... I've read Terence McKenna, more than one book, so I know Terrence, but we've done lectures on Terrence McKenna on this channel. So don't try to trump me with your DMT bro knowledge. I guarantee I've read more Terrence McKenna than you.
Even saying how crazy is this? You know, like one of the more controversial aspects of the James Webb Telescope was this theory that perhaps the universe was quite a bit older than 13 point, whatever billion years.
Right.
And they were trying to push it back to 22 based on the existence of galaxies. And people are pushing back against that, and there's a lot of debate about that. But the bottom line is, all of it is too many numbers.
Where is Terrence McKenna?
The register.
Yeah.
Terrence Trent McKenna. Terrence Trent Darby McKenna. Kissing like a bandit, stealing time underneath the monkey tree. Does anybody even get that? Nobody even gets my jokes. My jokes are for nobody, for me, myself, and I. That's it. Get it? Terrence Trent Darby. Nobody even knows.
You know, however many billions of years ago, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there was something. And Terrence McKenna had a great line.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Terrence McKenna's great line.
A billion years ago, there was nothing. 13 billion years ago, there was nothing. And then a monkey splooged all over, and the universe popped out.
That said that science requires one miracle. The Big Bang. It requires a miracle.
Well, I always say that when people ask.
It's so funny to think about. I'm trying to be nice. This is the year of love. I got to remind myself 2025 is the year of love, meaning that I'm not going to be mean to people. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to be so loving. I'm going to be so loving in 2025 that you get pure Kim Kardashian voice. And that's proof of my love for you guys. I want to hear a response from a science proponent to my simple empirical argument that if you're an empiricist, which 99.9% of all of the proponents of this Big Bang, Joe Rogan, science, normie worldview, can someone please explain to me what the empiricist basis for what happened 13.5 billion years ago is? Oh, there's not any empirical basis, correct? Because there is no empirical sense data of the past, much less 13.5 billion years ago. Now, you might think I'm being obscurantist or absurdist, but if you stop and think about it, this is a very simple philosophical argument that would literally blow away anybody in this sort of sphere of stuff. If the basis for our knowledge is restricted to sense data, which is called empiricism, that's a school of thought about epistemology, right? Hume, Locke, etc. Those Scottish common sense people. You can't prove or know that empiricism is true. Do you guys understand? It's a very simple argument. This is lost on probably everybody. But if I'm an empiricist, if I restrict all knowledge to sense data, the proposition itself that all knowledge is restricted to sense data cannot be known or proven from sense data. That's a contradiction. It's self-refuting. So it's a dogma, but nobody who proposes all of the outlandish theories of, like, if you listen to Richard Dawkins, he'll start talking about,
11.5 million years ago, there was a monkey in a tree, and he fell down because he was hungry, and he was horny, and he ate some of the shrooms.
It's like, you don't know what was going on you have not observed 11.5 million years ago. You haven't observed 13.5 billion years ago. It's sci-fi, dude. It's literal sci-fi. Hence, space is fake and gray.
It's me about, the miracles in the Bible. Yeah. And I say, well, if the first miracle happened, if everything, nothing became everything, right, then, Jesus turning water into wine.
That's an easy one.
Well, yeah.
That's a party trick.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is nothing compared to the birth of the universe, but we're convinced at the creation of the universe, and we're very skeptical at other miracles. It's very odd.
Yeah,
It's very odd.
I think there's an inconsistency there. And you do see when the Big Bang is first hypothesized that there are individuals who are uncomfortable with that sounding like in the beginning. Because before that, the idea was that the universe was eternal.
Yeah.
And if you propose a point in time where everything starts to exist, well, and you see some of these people.
Which is funny because all of these positions, even like multiverse, if you really look into it, it's older Hermetic and occultic theories, like Nicholas of Cusa, or if you read the Hegel and Hermeticism book, the first chapter of the Hegel and Hermeticism book is like all of these Hermeticists that German mystics, right, that we've talked about in multiple lectures that prepared the way for Hegel. So multiverse is actually proposed by, or infinite universe, it comes out of infinite universe theory. All of these esoteric occultic weirdos before the modern period, and then now we're back to this with quantum foam and all this nonsense, which everybody in this sphere of science proposes as if it's scientific, and it's all just sci-fi, and they're just repeating the older metaphysics and pagan views, right? It's like ancient Hindu and Greek paganism gets repeated and recycled as science, and people think that that's science, none of which is actually empirically verified. That's just funny to me. It's like, it's actually just pure comedy.
People are pushing back on it. They say things like, well, that sounds too religious. That sounds like a beginning point in time.
Oh,
and
well,
at
yeah.
that point, if there's a Big Bang, you have to figure out, okay, well, what's the Big Banger?
Right.
The Big Banger is the giant ape god, the monkey god of Terence McKenna, splooging everywhere the universe into existence. Okay, this is getting a little boring. Let's move on to Gnostics, 22940. Let's see what do they say about the Gnostics. Gnostics is like what everybody who's mid-tier to low IQ thinks
Check this out. I'm going to show you.
Is deep and mystical and esoteric, but then when you actually read and look into Gnosticism, it's like, it's literally just as it's Marvel cinematic universe for the ancient world. It's just ridiculous.
Of history have a lot of crossover in the way they describe how you should write history with the words that Luke uses at the beginning of his gospel, where he says, I'm interviewing eyewitnesses and I'm writing up an orderly account. And so he's saying, I'm going to use these methods that are expected as good history of my day. I'm not an eyewitness, so I'm going to try to find the people who are eyewitnesses, and I'm going to try to encapsulate this within a document that communicates what is being written.
So we have an account of the resurrection. Do we have an account of the denial of the resurrection? Is there an historical record?
I think I'm waiting for the Gnostics section. I think this is it. I may have to go play Return of the Mac, lest we get dinged for playing too long of a clip. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Heard of him just dying, and this like a refutal or a rebuttal rather to what they're saying?
No, the only ones from the ancient world that deny his resurrection are groups that come on afterwards that sometimes are described as Gnostics, and they're not necessarily just denying it for the reasons we might think they were. They're denying it because they have incorporated ideas of pagan philosophy.
This is an interesting point. This is not the direction I thought the Gnostic chat would go. Yeah, you don't actually see a heavy denial of resurrection argumentation going on the basis of what today's soy atheist people do, which that's an interesting point. Citizen Davey, $1.50. Jade, I miss up your second tinfoil hat gift. Did you forget? I don't think so, but also tinfoil hat had to migrate their whole, they didn't have to, they chose to, they migrated their whole chain to Sonic, because Phantom rebranded as Sonic. Tin Hat Cat is built on Phantom, which became Sonic, so you have to migrate your coins. If you go to the Tin Hat Cat Twitter, they have posted how to do that. You just basically switch out your wallet with a new one. but I don't think I forgot your coins. Maybe I did. I apologize. It was only like $5 or $10, wasn't it? Sight Hound Siege, $10. Jay, your red book finally came. Thank you. I've been enjoying your content. I discovered you on the panel collab that you did with Tim Gordon, Rachel, Pearl. Whoa, guys! I'm just joking. Oh, I remember that. And Glenn Lawrence. Yeah, I remember that. That was, we were in LA for the Jamie Kennedy live event. That was like a day before it. I was nervous because I was like, it's the first day we're doing a live event. Will Jamie Kennedy ghost me? Will he be there? And he came through. B-Rad came through. Thank you. O2 Array O2. $50. Thank you. What's up? Throwing down the big fat Getty Green. Thank you for all your content. Thank you so much. That's so far. O2 Array O2 is winning super chats tonight. Living Water $5. Jay, I hope you're doing well. It is I, Stephen Hawking. I got back from Windsor Castle. There was a beautiful spread of baby bottle and baby blood. Thank you. I read that in the Stephen Hawking official copyrighted voice tone. Victor Ziegler, shout out to our Eyes Wide Shut party compadre Victor Ziegler. He says, "Let it rain, pay piggies." Ooh, pay piggy. Alderbana, $5. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I discovered Kant through your metaphysics book. Meta-narratives book. I went down a rabbit hole. Is his philosophy the most compatible with orthodoxy? No. I'm sorry if I gave you that impression. No, I would not say Immanuel Kant's philosophy is at all compatible with orthodoxy. Kant is just good for certain arguments. He made some good transcendental arguments. He does not make the transcendental argument for God. He has a great critique of Descartes' cogito. He's good for pointing out that our worldviews are holistic, our thought systems are holistic. That's about it. His answers are garbage, and the system as a whole is garbage. If not, what would it be? No, there's no secular philosophy that's the most compatible. Usury? No, usury is not compatible. I think you're singing my song called Usury. Gabe K, $10. Jay, I love you. Alex O'Connor put out a community post that he should interview somebody in 2025. Tons of people were writing your name. Let's freaking go. Yeah, I'm always down. I wouldn't, don't hold your breath. I don't think any of those people, it's weird. You never know. I mean, sometimes eventually it happens, but don't hold your breath. I mean, I would definitely do it. Stephen Cook, $5. Christ is Born. Hope you and Jamie had a good Christmas. Yes, we did. Why do I feel like Mel Gibson's Passion will be no good and full of heresy? Well, let's not be rash. Let's hope for the best. Maybe it'll be good. I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. I remember I was a trad cat when The Passion came out. And originally I liked it. Looking back, there's definitely way too many Latin trad cat superstitions kind of woven into it. As a film, it's a good film for sure. LA, $5. I posted a Wesley Huff video in the Discord of him talking about the canon of Scripture in Nicaea 1. Well, I don't know what Nicaea 1 would I mean, the Nicaea 1 does discuss the New Testament, but that's not the totality of the canon of Scripture. And also, it's pretty well known that whether you're in the Eastern tradition or the Western tradition, the canon was not resolved until centuries later. I mean, even if you go with the Roman Catholic route, or even the Protestant, I mean, most Protestants say their only go-to is St. Jerome. And we all know how inconsistent it is for a Protestant to just pick St. Jerome as the guy for the canon. I mean, it's like, well, so now we just pick one church father who has the right canon. Why? On what basis? And you don't believe anything else St. Jerome teaches, so it's very arbitrary. It's very much double standards, moving the goalpost. By the way, did we all see Razorfist talking smack? I don't know anything about Razorfist. Apparently, a lot of people were aware of him. He has a decent-sized YouTube channel, and I called him out. That's what I forgot to mention. But apparently the story is he loves to do these drive-by shots on Twitter, but will not debate anybody. So no shockers there. That's pretty much what I expected. Where is it at? Okay, here it is. So notice what he did was he says, his first comment is, "Hi, I'm Father Beardman." I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Orthodox, get it? Because of beards. "Today I'm going to explain that you can save the West by converting to an Eastern offshoot of Christianity." It's not an offshoot, it's actually the Orthodox Catholic Church that rejects every Western church father from Augustine to Ambrose. So he's got it backwards because Ambrose comes first, and also Ambrose and Augustine were contemporaries because Ambrose baptized Augustine. So he doesn't even realize that these are contemporaries. So that would be all of the Western saints who were contemporaries. The tweet doesn't even make any sense. It's a stupid tweet. And then I said, let's debate. Would you like to debate? And he says in response, if you're going to pretend ahistorically that the Orthodox Church do not reject Augustinian doctrines of original sin, filioque, and grace, then it is likely to be a short debate. And I said, you are moving the goalposts because your original claim was that we rejected Western saints. No, we do not reject them as saints, but nobody follows every saint as an individual in terms of their teaching, because most church fathers at some point made some mistake. Some made more than others. Some made significant enough mistakes that they are considered heterodox and are not even saints, hence why they're just called patristic writers, like Origen or Tertullian. But even a saint can get things wrong. For example, St. John of Damascus has the wrong list of the canon of scriptures. Other church fathers got wrong lists of canon of scripture. So that, I would say, could be considered a significant mistake. But they're not heretics, because being wrong is not the essential characteristic of a heretic. The essential characteristic of a heretic is being obstinate and willful in your rejection of the truth. Hence why both Origen and Tertullian persisted to the end of their lives in their error and in their heresies. But if we consider somebody like St. Augustine, for example, St. Augustine in Book 3 of On the Trinity says, I submit my book to the judgment of the universal church. By the way, he didn't say, I send my book to Rome for Rome to make the final approval. He just says, I submit it to the judgment of the universal church. And if I've written anything in error in this book, feel free to reject it. And guess what? The Orthodox Catholic Church did reject many of Augustine's teachings, and that's why Constantinople I, the Second Ecumenical Council, is the universal normative authority on the Trinity for the Church. Unless you are Roman Catholic and you don't care what ecumenical councils teach, and you just say, I follow the Pope. Because the Augustinian teaching is not the teaching of Constantinople I, it's the teaching of the Cappadocians and their model of the Trinity, which is a monarchical Trinitarian theology. The other issues I'd be happy to go into a debate about, and in fact I've done a 3-hour talk on the issues of original sin versus the ancestral sin conception of the Orthodox Church. This guy doesn't want to debate. So, no actual Razorfist is not going to debate me. I DM'd him. If he is interested in a debate, he can reply to the DMs and we can set it up. He just wants to do drive-bys. He's not going to do an actual debate. So, again, people are always saying, when are you going to debate so-and-so? When are you going to debate so-and-so? I always give people the opportunity to come debate. Whether it's a formal debate or whether it's Twitter spaces. All the trad cats are like, nobody wants to get on your Twitter space where you yell at people and shut them down. Dude, we've done countless formal debates. Every popular Muslim debate is a moderated formal debate. What are you even talking about? Every prominent atheist debate I've done is a formal moderated debate in a classical structure of debate. People act like I just do Twitter Spaces. No. What are you even talking about? The biggest debates that we've done are the formal debates. The Matt Dillahunty debate has 400,000, 500,000 views across various channels. The Fresh and Fit moderated debate has around 3 to 5 million views. What are you talking about? He only does Twitter Space debates where he yells at people and shuts them down and mutes them. Not what? It's not even remotely true.
Where they believe that the spiritual is good and the physical is bad. So if Jesus was crucified, let me back.
I will say I appreciate that Gnosticism, critiques of Gnosticism are being said on Rogan. So even though I disagree with Wes Huff's Protestantism, it is good to finally see a person who has enough knowledge to critique basic bitch Gnostic stuff and DMT bro stuff and Terrence McKenna stuff. So good. I'm glad to see this on Rogan. I'm happy to see Rogan moving in that direction. I wish it wasn't a Protestant, but I guess that's the best that we could hope for at this stage. So, by the way, if you missed it earlier, yes, I'll debate Wes Huff. I'd love to. There's no one I'm afraid to debate. I don't know what there's literally no one. I will go on Alex O'Connor's stream, even if he just wants to do an interview. That's fine. Jordan, $5. Jay Dyer, your foot clip is in the background of a Tarantino scene. That would be too funny. Make the video, clip it. People are always like, "Oh, you need to do this, dude." You make it. You make the clips, dog. By the way, y'all can clip me all you want. Create a clips channel, become rich. You have my permission. Just link back to me. That's my only request. John Edgington, $5. What do you think about Dutch Sense? He did a YouTube live video feed about directed energy weapons. I remember seeing Dutch Sense videos like 10 years ago and about weather stuff, and I kind of just lost interest. So I haven't followed or kept up with him. I'm not against the guy, or I don't have any dislike or anything. I just kind of I learned the basics of geoengineering stuff, and then I kind of just moved on and haven't followed what he says. But DC woodworking, $3. Thank you so much. Blackstaff McCoy, good buddy of ours, sends $100 freaking dollars. Dang, dude, that was really nice of you. Appreciate that. I know we've had a lot of good discussions on DMs, and hopefully my input has been helpful. So I really appreciate you shelling out those fat super chats, man. You so far, Blackstaff McCoy is winning tonight's super chat contest, and he gets more of my love and attention. You can actually purchase my love and attention. I think that's called prostitution. I'm not sure, but Mindhack, $10. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Mindhack. Long time follower, long time super chatter. I recognize him. Going back to the old school days, they now popped off. $1. You should debate Andrew Wilson. You can't beat him. Just kidding. We could have a mock debate. That'd be a fun kind of a tongue-in-cheek debate. Maybe that'd be fun to do. Maybe as a whatchamacallit, fundraiser or something. I don't know. Irina, $25. Awesome job, Jay. As always, God bless. Thank you so much, Irina. Appreciate that. That's really sweet. Four Arms, $5. What do you think justification by faith alone meant prior to Luther? Well, I don't think it meant anything, because the word alone was actually added by Luther in the German translation. So justification by faith was believed in by all of the Christian church prior to Martin Luther. And it meant that, yes, there is a requirement of mental believing and notional acceptance. But as Paul says, the only faith that counts is the one that worketh through love. MKG, $10. Thank you for reviewing this episode. There were many, many points I want to discuss on the spaces, but I want to finish the readings that you suggested beforehand. Hey, appreciate that. That's good. I probably won't be able to for a while. That's okay. Yeah, take your time. There's no hurry. Again, this book is so good that I've been reading, and I know everybody's like, when are you going to do the part 2? When are you going to do the part 2? Well, I finally finished Secret Agent by Joseph Conrad, but then I realized that part 2 of Secret Agent, there's not even enough in it really to do an entire podcast part 2. I was assuming when I'd read the first half of the book, it was going to be packed with all of this geopolitical, literary, esoteric information, and there's really only a couple things worth mentioning. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to tie the part 2 of Secret Agent into the part 2 of this excellent book, which I'm almost done with. The reason this book, it's not a hard read. It's that this guy's book is written in French and then it's translated in English, so it's difficult in that way. And it's so packed with information that it's just there's almost TMI, baby. It's almost a TMI situation. I'm not at all knocking the book. It's great. It's a necessary read. Everybody should, if you're into geopolitics, many of you are not. But if you do like the geopolitical domain, this one is a must-have. I mean, this one is just absolutely necessary. It's just like there's so much info, dude. It's like I can't even keep up with. I mean, like every page. Look at all that. Look at all that. But it's coming. Don't worry. You're gonna get the boil down, the classic J. Dyer boil down. Agent Zero, $5. Here's a comedy sketch idea. By the way, look at this. This is my comedy ideas folder notebook. I got a whole thing of it. Richard Dawkins is debating a Hillsdale College professor, and there's your impression of Boomer Garcia pops up as the moderator. Congratulations on being a writer for Sam Hyde, many years. Not bad. I think there's something there. What I want to do is maybe expand the impressions into maybe little dialogues like that. That could be a good one. So far I'm almost to 50 people that I impersonate. So I appreciate that. So I'm thinking like little dialogues. If you remember the first videos that I uploaded to YouTube back in the day, you guys probably haven't seen these, but a couple of them I took down because they were a little too edgy for the YT. PYT. Was me doing all the voices of fake Alex Jones shows. And they're still kind of funny, I think, if you go back and watch them. But that's kind of classic, right? Like, you do the voices of different people debating. So I like your idea, Agent Zero. That's something to roll with. J. Dyer, $3. I'd love to see a conversation with you and Jimmy Akin. I don't think he would love to see that conversation. It would be a very interesting podcast. I bet you're laughing right now, but I bet you would enjoy it. I'm not opposed to anybody's, even the people that hate me. Like, I would go on their podcast, but I think they're all just too sensitive, dude. They're all a bunch of vajayjays. I'm the only JJ. I'm the big vajayjay around here. What's wrong with these people? They need to toughen up. They need chalk.com. Listen, all of these soy theology men, and they're everywhere at least Wes Huff, I got to give him credit. He doesn't look like a soy theology man. I mean, he's Wes Buff, right? We got Wes Buff over here. That's better than all these soy men everywhere. And, Wes Buff looks like damn Casper Van Diem over here. He's over here, Starship Troopers, firing off against giant alien bugs. He's over here. He's got to choose between Denise Richards and the B-grade version of Carrie Russell, whatever her name was. Does he not look like the dude in Starship Troopers? Y'all know who Casper Van Diem is, right? That's some 90s esoterica right there. Anyway. What else do we need to see in this? Joe Rogan's critique of religious atheists. Let's hear that because, Rogan seems to be going in an interesting direction. So I want to hear what Joe...
I'm so tired of paying extra money for phone bills. There's no reason...
Girlfriend, get off of my screen. So we've seen Rogan moving in this direction where, 8 months, a year ago, Lord Voldemort was talking about it. Rogan said, we need Jesus. Like, things were so crazy, maybe we need Jesus. So I don't know if he was being tongue-in-cheek. Maybe he meant it. But it's interesting to see this sphere move in this direction. So what is Joe Rogan's critique of religious atheists? Let's see where he's at with this. 301. We need to go back a little bit. 301.20. Let's see.
sometimes.
Have you ever had a debate with a snarky atheist?
Yeah,
I think that would be
like
fun.
You think that would be fun, bro? Rogan, where you at? You ever checked out my channel? Listen, if you're looking for snarky atheist debates that would be fun and funny, I'm your guy. We've only done 1,000 of them, including famous and non-famous snarky atheists. Bro, I can tell you this. I can guarantee you that my snarky atheist debate will be smarter and funnier than the one that Wes Huff, when all props to Wes Huff, than anything that Wes Huff could offer. But that, hey, that's just me being humble.
A formal debate?
No, not even a formal debate. I think it would be a fascinating conversation because I'm sure, well, atheists, they vary just like Christians vary. But the worst versions of them are essentially believers in the religion of atheism.
Right.
They worship the concept of there being no God. And
this is a development. It's interesting to see Joe Rogan getting past this phase of the process of, I think, the Joe Rogan of 8 years ago would have said the opposite, right? He would have been touting, Neil deGrasse McTyson chicken or whatever that dude's name is. He would have been touting Bill Nye and the science man, and he would have been over there doing lap dances on, Stephen Hawking in that remote controlled, Muppet chair that he's in. Now we see Joe Rogan moving in the right direction. I like this arc, this story arc.
When you die, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And that to me is always so arrogant. Just the fact that you exist at all is so bizarre and so spectacular. The idea that you know for sure that when the lights shut out that's a wrap, like, because there's no evidence of the contrary. Well, okay.
Kind of assuming your conclusion there.
Absence of evidence is not evidence. It's especially when you're talking about something.
Oh shit! Did he just pull out a Rumsfeld? Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Damn, dude! I never even thought about utilizing Rumsfeld's PSYOPs NLP for apologetic purposes, but I like it. By the way, we just hit over 2,000. We hit 2,200, I think, which is, I think, my record. I think that's the record for this beloved channel. Shout out to everybody who's having fun. This is what you get over here if you're new to my channel. Maybe you popping through. Welcome to the madness. Welcome to the arena. This is what you get over here. It's homegrown, baby. We hit 2,002. Look like 2,200. Welcome everybody. So we're charting Rogan's mental journey into the possibility that the science worldview is not true. Maybe there's a God. I would imagine he's kind of taken the Jordan Peterson, sort of pathway. I'm just guessing. Don't you know? No. Well, fact,
And especially when you have people that have near-death experiences that are radically similar.
Yeah.
Those are really weird. They're really weird how many similarities people have in these near-death experiences from accidents and all sorts of things that people, come back from, where their heart stops beating, they see themselves above their body. There's a lot of weirdness to it that makes you...
You better hope. I better hope that when I die, I don't see myself above my body, because it's going to tempt me to lust in the afterlife. I'll be looking down. Oh, damn. Look at that dude. Look good. Why does he look so... Damn, how did that dude get so svelte? Oh, by Chalk.com. That's our show sponsor. CHOQ.com. You also will be lusting after your own body when you float above it in your NDE experience. If you partake of Chalk.com, the best in supplementation on the internet. No, I'm not joking. I'm being 100% serious. Use the promo code J40 to get 40% off. If you want to experiment with it, you want to test it out, you want to get some of that Chad mode. Yes, it's a real product. Yes, it's legit. Yes, it's the bomb biggity, baby. And that Tomcat 100, that's my favorite. Peer review proven to boost testosterone over here. Get that performance stack. We got a 90% dude audience over here, but there's 10% of ladies. They can also make use of the female vitality stack, which is right here. Ladies, you get some of that Sheila Jit, some of the ashwagandha, and some of the Irish moss. JAY44 Life. If you want to get a little bit of a bigger discount, to get 44% off, you can cancel at any time. Now, also, reminder, I got to tell y'all, listen, what's coming up in a few days? Hello, I'm going to be live. I'm going to be live in Florida, Tampa Bay, with a cast of an interesting cast of characters. I'm not live with all of these people. However, what's going on? Tampa Bay Screams horror convention. This is the first time I've ever been invited to a horror convention. And they were like, hey, you know that song from every John Carpenter movie, which is all of, yes. Well, Alan Howarth is headlining. Oh, who else is headlining? Oh, your boy right here. Look at that, the top of that. Look at that. Who's the headliners? Your boy right here, along with John Carpenter co-writer throughout all the 80s. I'm talking about Escape from New York. I'm talking about They Live. I'm talking about Big Trouble in Little China. On a dark and stormy night, the Pork Chop Express, when some 8-foot guys got you up against the wall and says, Jack, have you paid your dues? Tell him, yeah, I paid my dues. Check's in the mail. I'm talking Jack Burton Pork Chop Express music. And Alan Howarth is going to be performing live, and I will be performing live. Now, if you're good, I might do a little bit of cringecore. Maybe. We'll see. If I'm in the mood, if you're good enough to me. Or I might not. I might just do my lecture, Dark Secrets of Horror Movies, Esoteric Hollywood Live. Now, here's where you get the tickets. I forgot to put the link in the chat. But right here, I'm going to give it to you right now. If you come on over here, January 19th, special evening dinner. First, I think we've almost sold out, but the first 30, I think we're above 30 now. But you might, I'm not sure the exact number of sales. You're going to have to pop on over there and see. First 30 get a free Esoteric Hollywood signed copy right there. Dark Secrets of Horror Film J. Dyer Lecture Dinner Package. Now, this is separate from the convention. We will be at the convention with this wild cast of characters here. All these, how should we say, eccentric persons. We got the dude from Superman. We got one of the witches from Suspiria. We got another woman from Suspiria. We got this dude. We got Grandpa Dracula right here. We got me right there. I think I should be up at the top, but that's okay. I forgive it. I'm just being humble right now. I'm just being humble. We got this beautiful woman over here, Jamie. We got girls on poles dancing. I'm joking. We got these B-movie filmmakers, shall we say. I don't know any of these people. Don't know anything about what all this is about. But, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. This is going to be interesting. My lecture is separate from all of that. Get your tickets right now. Darkest Secrets of Bohemian Grove. Psych! Dark Secrets of Bohemian Grove. Folks, unbelievable. Right there. Get your tickets. All right. Back to Wes Huff. What are we doing? I'm all confused. Okay, here we go.
I think it's a little silly. Because how could you know what you don't know? Yeah. You cannot know what you don't know. And the problem
that's some Rumsfeld level stuff right here.
There's a cachet, that there's a social credit amongst academics in particular that's ascribed to a person who is atheist, a person who is, he's brilliant, he's not silly, he doesn't believe in myths, he doesn't. I get it. I get why there's social pressure in that regard. I get it. But to not look at the universe itself, just this creation engine of planets and stellar nurseries, just
Right.
The bizarreness of the epicness of it all, and to not wonder if maybe you have a very narrow perception.
Right.
I agree with that. By the way, the reason it echoes is because of the Mac setup that we have. So I have to unmute if I'm going to talk, but you hear an echo. I forgot what I was going to say about that. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is good, a good shift here. Rogan is noticing the wondrous harmony and symmetry and beauty of the universe. It doesn't really make sense to say existence is this meaningless nothingness and we're all just floating and about to dissolve back into the infinite nothingness when we die. I mean, it's just really absurd if you go down that route philosophically. I would love to come on and argue these things philosophically, but we'll see. Not much. Is there much else there? Let's see what else he talks about. Oh yeah, critique of JBP. Okay, so let's see Wes Huff's critique of our boy JBP. 30930. Well, fine, don't you know? 30930. Here we go.
Returns in the first place. Maybe it returns through AI.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the portal to Jesus.
I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I mean,
that scares the shit out of me.
I really appreciate, guys that you're friends with, right? Like the Jordan Petersons and the Douglas Murrays of the world, or, the Tom Hollands, not the Spider-Man actor, the historian, who talk about this stuff. I think I really like the way that Jordan Peterson articulates it, but I think he misses the forest for the trees.
How so?
In that he sees Jesus as an archetype. And I don't think actually even Jesus gives you the opportunity to see him as the archetype. Because I have this love-hate relationship with all of Peterson's stuff because he's...
Well, Jesus is the archetype of archetypes, as the church fathers say, but he's also more than just an archetype because we're not Platonists. We believe that he is the second person of the Godhead. But this is where Maximus's philosophy of the logi is so useful in distinguishing Orthodox Christianity from Platonism. But let's see what he says about Peterson's archetype.
He seems to get so much right where he walks up to the line, but he doesn't want to cross over.
Yeah, I think everybody's...
the crossover, you think, connected to a life in academia? Or
no.
What do you think it is?
I wonder, and I'd love to talk to him about this, like how do you remedy this issue that... Because he seems to think that the concept of Jesus as an example is more important than the actual flesh and blood first century itinerary.
Yes, and this is, of course, what everybody, I think, including myself and others, have criticized for many, many years. But that was not the only criticism. In fact, the first criticism, when I made my first video about Dr. Peterson, it was years ago about classical liberalism. And they have actually moved away from classical liberalism, which is a good thing. So props to Peterson for moving away from classical liberalism. In fact, that's what kicked off a lot of the James Lindsay debate with them, with Peterson and Pajot on Twitter about a year ago. So I was glad to see them moving in that direction. And again, I've asked James Lindsay to debate 3 times. He won't debate. So don't hold your breath. But yes, and then I guess the last domino would be that Jordan Peterson would have to accept the stumbling block of the cross, which is that Jesus is not primarily a historical exemplar archetype concept, but the actual second person of the Godhead in flesh, and actually a savior. That's the whole thing.
A Jewish preacher who was crucified and rose from the dead physically, which is the claim of the Gospels and the rest of the New Testament. That's an example for us to look on and live by. But I actually think that Jesus condemns moralism. And ultimately what I see Peterson doing is looking at Jesus as a moral example. And if Jesus is nothing but a moral example, then you can save yourself and you don't actually need a savior.
Of course, I disagree with his, Protestant PSA assumptions as to what that means, but in effect, essentially, that's correct. So that's That was pretty good survey there. We're going to move on now to the Mel Gibson discussion because I'm told that I need to also check out some of the discussion here. And I'm sure maybe there was other sections of the Wes Huff, Joe Rogan chat that I needed to see. I don't know. You can mention what other sections were of particular import if you want in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I want to remind you guys too that you can get my books at my website. The red books are back ordered, but they should be here in a couple more days. I think I'm caught up on almost all the orders. I think there's 2 people that have outstanding orders, so I apologize to you guys. I should have a giant crate of red books coming in soon, so you can get my 660 pages of all the geopolitical and theological and apologetic writings there. You get Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2. I have over 300 pages of Esoteric Hollywood 3 complete. Hopefully that'll be out in the next few weeks. Be done in the next couple months. So head on over to jaysnelson.com in the shop. You can also get signed copies of not just my books, but also Jamie's books. Let's see. Rogan has Mel Gibson on today, and somebody said check out around the 30-minute mark, and Mel talks about the problems with the Vatican. Let's see.
Institutions. To improve your digital security, just turn on NordVPN.
In a lot of ways, because it's history. Mm-hmm.
Well, the institution, it was instituted by Christ, but that doesn't mean that it can't be flawed. And there's a school of thought that says it isn't what it purports to be anymore.
Well, I think we can all know right away what my first response would be is that as a Roman Catholic, you have to believe Vatican I. And Vatican I dogmatizes the position that the institution of the Roman See, the papacy, is unable to be divorced from the actual guy in Rome and the Roman college. So you cannot divorce the office and the see from the guy in Rome. They're distinct, but they're unable to be divorced. And that's one of the elements that Vatican I lays down as the dogmatic position of perpetual, infallible, Petrine guidance for the Roman See. It can never teach error. It can never fall into heresy. It can never depart from the faith. That's why it's indefectible. It's not just a question of which documents or statements are, quote, infallible. It's a question of the indefectibility of the Roman See, which is also part of the teaching of Vatican I, that makes it impossible, if you're a Roman Catholic, to consistently be Catholic and believe all the dogmas, because the Roman See has defected, departed, teaches heresy, and continues almost on a daily basis now with Frank to reinforce that thesis.
It's moved away from what it was intended to be and what it is. Almost, there's a guy called Bishop Vigano who says it's a counterfeit.
Yes, but you see, that would be to state what the Orthodox said about Rome 1,000 years ago. So all you tradcats need to understand that the Orthodox position on the papacy is saying 1,000 years ago what you guys have just now come to in our day. Now, I'm not saying just now in the sense that like Mel Gibson just now became a tradcat. No, he's always been a tradcat. I'm saying the position is not actually a new position. It's the very thing that the Orthodox said 1,000 years ago.
Parallel church. And it's running an entirely different religion. I actually don't adhere to a post-conciliar church. I adhere.
Can you define what that means?
Okay. There was an event that happened in the 60s. First, there was an event in the Vatican where they elected John the 23rd Pope, right, in 1958. I was 2 years old, right? He was elected, and there was a very funny thing that happened in the conclave. Usually there's white and black smoke.
This is actually mentioned in some of the Gladio literature because the CIA had a very important close role
primarily in the election of Paul VI. So they were concerned about John the 23rd as the pink pope because of his favorable statements in Pacem in Terris towards socialism. So they were concerned that he might be compromised or side with Soviets or something like that. So the CIA took a very close, important role in ensuring that Paul VI would get elected, and Kissinger and Colby, not Colby. I just went blank on the. Who's the Tradcat CIA director? I just went blank. The guy who had his own group of Tradcat CIA operatives called the Templars. I mean, it was so cringy. But anyway, Kissinger and he met with Paul VI and John Paul II quite often. That was because the CIA was essentially co-opting and utilizing the Vatican throughout the Cold War, and has continued to. And this is a big puzzle piece as to why the Vatican to this day still pushes the CIA party line, including Davos and all of that. Davos and Klaus, that was all started by the CIA and Kissinger as well. And that makes sense with Kissinger playing a key role in Gladio. This is, again, the era where the Vatican banks compromised through this CIA operation. Now, Mel is absolutely correct in all this. And, I mean, he's even getting into, like, subterfuge with John the 23rd's election.
It goes out of the chimneys to tell you, we have a pope, habemus papam, and the white smoke came out. And everybody cheered, and they went crazy. And then about a half an hour later, black smoke came out. That never in history has that happened. That the white smoke came out, and then the black smoke.
But the problem with this is that in Roman Catholic traditional canon law, you cannot reject decisions that the Roman College has come to. And so even if it were true that John the 23rd's papacy was in doubt, or there was some question about its canonical whatever, it really doesn't matter, because soon after Paul VI is elected, I'm saying soon after in the sense of the next pope, and I mean, what are we going to have, like 100 years of a vacant papacy? I mean, this is it gets into the levels of just preposterous absurdity with the Roman Catholic system when Vatican I makes it abundantly clear that there will be pastors to the end of the world in the Roman See. So the idea of 100+ year apocalypse, end times vacancy is ridiculous. And I will show you. All right, you have to think of the phraseology of how Vatican I phrased it. They say until the, let's try the end. So the first statement of Vatican I in session 3 is about the promise of the Son of God to the church, right? That he would be with this church militant until the end of the world. Okay, so he has never ceased to be. Okay, keep that in mind. This same church is preserved in its constitution, the way that it's structured, until the end, meaning until the end of the world, right? Again, and this office of the Roman See continues as the teacher and guardian of the faith, as well unto the end, preserves it until the end. You have to preserve your faith in the Roman See until the end. So then, just as Christ sent apostles, even as they were sent by the Father, so it is in this manner and is his will that in this church there should be shepherds, popes, until the end of time, to preserve the unity of this church. And thus the Petrine office, as it says in section 4 there, is the firm foundation until the end of the world. And thus this Roman See could never lose this promise, this perpetuity, this living successor, this magisterial universal testimony
that ensures the indefectibility, the inerrancy, and the teaching authority until the end of the world, until the return of Christ. This is the essence of what makes the Sedevacanist position untenable. That at the time of Pius XII, the seat was therefore vacant from John the 23rd on. So we're almost to 100 years of a vacant papacy, meaning the magisterium doesn't exist in a living sense for almost 100 years. This is preposterous, and it's literally the opposite of what Vatican I promises for the Roman Catholic Church. Now remember, Roman Catholicism has to believe all the dogmatic councils and all the papal statements, and the popes confirm the dogmatic councils, which is what makes them dogmatic councils. That means you can't reject Vatican I. You can't reinterpret it to be, oh, it's papal minimalism. I don't accept that interpretation. Vatican I is the final interpretation. We're supposed to not need interpretations of interpretations. So you have to believe Vatican I and Vatican II if you're Roman Catholic. But Mel has correctly noticed, to his credit, that Vatican II and all the teaching and actions of the popes post-Vatican II contradicts the Roman Catholicism prior to Vatican II. For example, Mortalium Animos of Pius XI in 1928 says that interfaith gatherings and ceremonies are a surrendering of the faith and an apostasy. And yet, only a few decades later, John the 23rd literally says the opposite, that ecumenist gatherings, interfaith gatherings, and prayer services are the work of the Holy Spirit. But why should we think that's strange when the Roman Catholic Church in the Middle Ages, in Unum Sanctum, said that you had to believe that the Pope was a literal world emperor to be saved? Yes, I'm right on that. 1382, Unum Sanctum. It does not just say you have to be in communion with the Roman See. It also teaches the doctrine of the temporal supremacy of the Roman bishop, which was based on forgeries, like the donation of Constantine, which is now admitted by the Vatican to be a forgery. So in 1382, I had to believe that the Pope was a world emperor who could call standing armies to fight for him to be saved. If I doubted the Pope's temporal power, according to Unum Sanctum, which was dogma, I could lose my salvation. I would lose my salvation. Post-Vatican II, Roman Catholicism teaches dogmatically religious liberty. There are no Vatican prelates or popes post-Vatican II that teach the temporal supremacy of the Roman bishop. So a dogma has completely changed to be its opposite. Two of them. I gave you two. Temporal supremacy of the Roman bishop, no longer taught by Rome, rejected by Rome since Vatican II. And the idea that praying together with other religions in giant ecumenist ceremonies was a surrendering of the faith in 1928. Post-Vatican II, it is the work of the Holy Spirit. That's two easy contradictions for you right there.
White smoke means we found a new pope. Black smoke means no pope.
That's right. They'd have votes, or there'd be one reason or another they'd have a round in the conclave, and black smoke would come out many times maybe. Maybe it would take 2 weeks. But never was it known that white smoke came out, then black smoke came out.
So what was the scenario?
That somebody was elected, and that maybe something else happened, and he was pushed aside and someone else was put in.
So if you read the Williams text on Operation Gladio, which everybody should read, the same type of thing happens with Paul VI, but it's actually the CIA ensuring that Paul VI is elected via the recommendations of Kissinger for Cold War purposes.
Struggle. Some kind of power struggle. And, of course, the man who came out was a man called Angelo Roncalli, and he was John the 23rd. Now, it's interesting to note that never had a pope taken the name of another pope ever before in history. But this man took the name of a known anti-pope from the 15th century that Cosimo de' Medici put in there as his own man. I'll get you in the chair, and then everything will be rosy. You know, everything will go good for business. You know, whatever he was putting him in there for, some corrupt reason. But and there have been corrupt men in that place before. I mean, there's Alexander VI and Julius II and Sixtus IV. I mean, some of these guys are, you know, they're not.
Yeah, this is all excellent. Mel, when are you going to become Orthodox? I mean, there's nothing crazier than the world of the trad cats. I mean, it's just a world. They're insane. And I was in that world. I was insane. You will go insane in that world until you find that actually all this is a bunch of nonsense. Jesus didn't expect me to get a degree in Latin to be saved, and also Jesus didn't expect me to follow a bunch of degenerates in Rome to be saved. And I don't have to follow the weekly soap opera of what the people in Rome are doing. And I don't have to try to convince Protestants to come into a position that makes no sense. So you need the magisterium to be saved and to know what the truth, what the dogmas are. Oh, but by the way, there has been no magisterial living teaching since 1958. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Frankie D, $10. Once you get through the transcendental argument, what do you think are the arguments in favor of orthodoxy? In contrast to something like, quote, spiritualism. Well, probably I would just say something like, spiritualism doesn't really give you any kind of justification for objective morals, for virtue ethics. Spiritualism, kind of like Gnosticism or ritual magic or any kind of occult stuff, it's almost always some kind of like, you just need secret knowledge, right? It's a form of like esoteric secret knowledge that you're going to get through, I don't know, seances. I guess that's what you mean by spiritualism, or perhaps some other voodoo practice. I don't know, but I don't think you really get spiritual knowledge or secret knowledge or advancement through that kind of stuff. It's kind of a scam. So I would just point out the lack of moral credibility and justification for their ethical principles and morals for most spiritualists. Plus, famous spiritualists, I don't know, Madame Blavatsky, I mean, she was a notorious fraud. She was essentially a British intelligence operative. So, like, why would you trust people like that? What about somebody who believed that there were higher beings, but that Christian God was just a demiurge? Watch my videos critiquing Gnosticism. I have 2 video lectures, and also debated a well-known Gnostic named Scott Smith. Anonymous, $5. Eyes wide shut. At the very beginning, did you notice that they were talking about giving a babysitter a fake pager number? I have not. This shows that the parents were careless. Interesting. I'll have to note that next time I watch it. Thank you, Anonymous. Osmotic, $25. How do you not get angry with all the deceit, lies, and deaths that come from our government? I mean, why do you think I'm not? Do you think I'm like cool with it? I don't. I mean, I do get annoyed with government corruption, but I also know that I guess you could learn from Stoic philosophy that, I mean, this is part of orthodoxy too, I guess, that like if something's out of your control, like what you can't get all bent out of shape over something that you can't control. So like the Stoic said, you focus on what's within your sphere of control and influence. Joseph, $5. Are you familiar with Jad Farah? I'm not. Roman Catholics will not debate you on the Crusades. I don't know that I've actually offered to debate them on the Crusades. When I say the geopolitics of the papacy, I'm more so referring to like Wim Hof's book or the geopolitics of the papacy, Gladio type stuff. Next time you should do a space, I will offer you arguments in favor of it. In favor of the Crusades? Well, I actually have said many times that I understand the logic of Urban II and the Crusades. So I think you're confusing what I've said. When I say the geopolitics of the papacy, I'm talking about the CIA, the OSS, and the papacy, primarily. I am not primarily talking about Urban II. But Urban II really doesn't have anything to do with the doctrine of temporal supremacy via Dictatus Papae and what I'm talking about. Why isn't the Father being the sole cause a form of emanationism? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but I literally have no idea how you would come to that conclusion. Because even the Roman Catholic position, while believing in the Filioque, believes that the Father is the principal cause. So by that very line of argument, that would also apply to the Roman Catholic position and would mean that it's also emanationism. So I'm not trying to be rude to you. I don't think you know what these terms mean, and you're completely confused. Mentos Mori, $5. Is that 3 versus 3 debate going to happen? Maybe. Somebody, Yossi or one of them, had a baby Ubi had to finally do the Ibarra debate, which happened. We'll see. Dex, $10. What book did you recommend over Timothy Ware, Orthodox Church? My endorsed book, Orthodox Church. Sun Guy, $3. Did you see Tim Gordon's recent videos against Orthodoxy? I saw that he did them. I've not watched them yet. Do you have any... I did, by the way, do a response to the... what's that guy's name? Keith. The guy that we were saying looks like Billy Ray Cyrus and Scott Stapp. He said that hurt his feelings. That I said that. He replied on Twitter. My arguments for Catholicism, right? That dude, his video with like 250,000 views. So I didn't even realize he followed me on Twitter. And he was like, "Oh, watch your video, bro. You were savage and like you went too far, man. You were calling me Scott Stapp and Creed, and you were calling me Billy Ray Cyrus." And but no, I've not seen Tim's videos, but I did see Tim's. Tim was just like copy pasting like Catholic Answers level quotes to prove the papacy. And I'm like, bro, this is super low tier. Stormbless, $5. Jay, did you unlist your top books video? No, I did not. Top books video. No, it should be there. The regular one about books. No, I did not unlist that. Let's see. It's just titled. So the algorithm is like fussy that you have to basically have the exact title of the video. I don't remember how I title it. Like something like books you have to read before you die or something like that. That's why it doesn't come up probably. 15 books to read before you die. Is that the book? Is that the video you're talking about? I'm assuming that's what you mean by top books, but that's what it's called. Wolf Steak, $10. Christ is born. Glorify him. Look up Wes Huff's Vatican video, and he talks about the Protestant biblical canon. He talks smack on ecumenical councils. Not sure what time marks they are. Is it worth looking at? Perhaps. I mean, I figured as a Protestant, that's what he would have to say. Here's my challenge. I would love to debate Wes Huff on the Orthodox versus Protestant view of the Bible. So here's my challenge. Yes. Again, Wes Huff just made a video saying that he's not going to debate, although people ask him to debate. So I doubt he'll do it, but I'm open to it. Frankie Schmelkite, $3. I saw a set of a contest priest talk about how Catholics are hesitant to accept the, quote, spiritual church of the set of a contest. Yeah, because that's the Protestant doctrine of the invisible church. It got me thinking, what's stopping these people from being a Calvinist, Nestorian, invisible church believer? Exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, King Conan, $3. Why do you think Christianity asks us to believe in historical events and actual beliefs, whereas other religions like Zen, Buddhism, Hinduism never require this beyond a story or a metaphor? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's see. Mel Gibson. Let's see if there's any more that he talks about. Let's see.
Saints. So he took the name of a known anti-pope from the 5th century who actually said, yes, I'm an anti-pope. Sorry, I'm not the right guy, because there was more than one, and he confessed to being, and he wanted to, square things with the Almighty, I guess, so he confessed to being an anti-pope. And so he took the same name as that.
Ooh.
And it was only a little while, because who knows why. I don't know.
Well, he was wanted.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that he had done was he had moved a priest that had molested 100 kids, and he moved him to some new place.
Interesting. I didn't know they were going to get into this. MKG, YouTube is more lenient to appeals recently. If you consider appealing your monetization ban. Yes, I have. In fact, I went through all of my old videos and a bunch of the dead, buried in the algorithm videos. That almost all of them, I think, have been moved to Rockfin. I took all those off. So, but I also heard from somebody who works with a big YouTuber that a lot of that might not even matter because the main reason I was interested in being remonetized wasn't really for the money, because you don't really make that much from ads. It was because of the algorithm. My assumption was that if you're demonetized, you're probably not going to get the algo boost that you would if it was monetized. But I heard from a person that they have this internal scoring system apparently where that doesn't even matter, because if your channel talks about stuff that is ranked or considered not normie, basically is the way it was. I'm trying to think of the right phraseology. There's like content that is recommended to everyone, normie slop, basically. If it's not normie slop, then you're kind of already put in this group that it won't matter. So you will always just kind of be in this, I wouldn't say not ghetto, but you will always be in this little niche over here, essentially. So in other words, this channel will probably never be ever in any kind of like top recommended thing. I don't know. This is somebody saying to me that that's how the internal thing works. I have no idea if that's how it works, but I would assume this person probably knows. So, whatever. From my vantage point, I'm happy for what we have. I'm happy to be doing what we do. I will definitely try to tweak the channel to make it better, to make it more, algorithmically accessible or whatever through code words. I don't know what the secret is, but I think at this point right now, I can always still grow very well on X. That seems to be working. I mean, I went from like 40 to 50,000 on X to 100 in a year. So I got more people on Twitter in 1 year than I've gotten anywhere else. So at least for right now, that's where we're at. Now, somebody said, let's see, there was a super chat. Somebody says, Joe's the $3. I'm very new to these topics. I'm actually Orthodox, though. I thought you had an argument about Crusades because it's against the canons. No, so the canons of Chalcedon and other ancient canons say that you cannot be involved in civil roles or the state if you're a cleric. My argument about the papacy was more specific, and you can go watch my video that's on the front page of my YouTube channel called "This One Dogmatic Contradiction Ends Roman Catholicism." There I go into the specifics. So all you gotta do is come over here, go down right here. Now I've lost it. Where is it at? All has changed. This one dogmatic contradiction ends Rome. I give you 18 minutes very precisely what my argument is. Right here. I think this is one of the strongest. I've yet to hear any Roman Catholic even attempt to respond, because I don't know how I don't think they have. There's no way they're going to be able to answer this. I can't see how. And I know all the tricks and gymnastics, and like this one is. I think this one's a strong one. But the point of this argument is not ultimately about crusades. The emanationist thing is not my position. It's a critique I was trying to think of. But again, if the Father being the sole cause is somehow emanationist, that would also mean the Roman Catholic position is emanationist, because they believe he's the principal cause, and that the Son then cooperates in being a second cause, which is ridiculous. Frankie D, $5. How would you refute an argument like Green's? He says that Kabbalism is about denying non-Brazilians their spirit. I mean, Kotel debated him, and the guy couldn't even understand what a fallacy was. So, I mean, if people don't understand that a person who can't fathom a fallacy or what that is, is not worth debating, I don't know what else to say. But go watch David Patrick Harry's debate with Green. Anonymous, $50. Do you have thoughts on the Machiavellians? Do you mean Machiavelli? I wrote an essay on him in my meta-narratives book on his theory of the role of that in terms of the U.S. Constitution and what he was really proposing in Art of War. So I did a whole analysis and essay. I read Machiavelli's Art of War many years ago. So you can go look up that for the thoughts on it. Headphone, $3. Is theosis a later invention? No, I don't know what that means. The New Testament says in John 17 that you can participate in the glory that Christ had before the foundation of the world. That participation in glory can't be a creature. God's glory is not a created thing. So how could theosis be an invention when Peter says that we become partakers of the divine nature, that is, partaking of the divine energies? Paul talks about the divine energies in multiple epistles. Look up Energeia in the New Testament. So how could theosis be a later invention when it's discussed multiple times in the New Testament? Theophilus of Antioch talks about deification and participating in the divine energies. St. Athanasius says God became man, that man might become God. So there's a consistent teaching of theosis. I don't know where anybody would get this, say, later invention. MKG, $100. We all know where quality is. I'm grateful to have found your work. Hey, MKG knows what's up. He knows that the quality is right here. We all know where quality is. I'm grateful. Many others also, I think, are grateful to you for your work. Much love to you and Jay and Jamie. Or he didn't say Jamie. God bless you. Hey, thank you, MKG. You guys are being super generous with all these $100, $50 super chats. Let's see if Dr. Gibson says anything else.
It's where he molested deaf kids.
Yeah. Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's the dirtiest, most evil practice that the Catholic Church has been accused of.
I think so, and many institutions as well.
Yeah.
But that is a very bad one. And I think it's all part and parcel of the same corruption that crept in. And when you asked what's the difference between pre-Vatican II, so Vatican II happened, and of course they took the church and they reformed it, and they changed things in it. And it didn't necessarily agree with everything that went before it.
Mm.
And up to that point, yeah, you could find it agreed with itself. But all of a sudden, you got...
Well, you can find that the post-schism Latin Tridentine Church agreed with itself, but then it contradicted itself when it introduced Vatican I. And a lot of people don't understand this, and this will blow the minds of the trad cats, but Roman Catholics think of, the trad cats think of Vatican I as like this paragon of conservatism and tradition. No, it's Vatican I that is the revolutionary council, because Vatican I's enshrinement of essentially the God-man status of the papacy is itself what becomes the basis for the revolution of Vatican II. Substack. Zach Substack, $5. No, I meant Robert Burnham book, The Machiavellians. I'm sorry, I've not read that book. I'm not familiar with it. So I will have to look into that. But thank you for that, Zach. Guy M, $3. Boy, I just about cried laughing at your Quasimodo song. That was sick. Hey, thank you. I think a lot of people don't realize the cringecore songs are improv. I most of the time just make those up on the spot. So I think that adds to a little bit of the fun.
That's something else. To the point where now, I mean, we got a pope that brought a South American idol into the church to worship.
Really?
Pachamama.
And he got.
I don't know what that is.
It's
remember, Pachamama is a human sacrifice deity, and Roman Catholics have just totally have we all forgotten Pachamama from only a few years ago? Do we not recall Pachamama? I mean, is yet another proof of the nonsense of the papacy?
South American god Pachamama.
Why would he do that?
Good question. but he did.
Did he have an explanation for why he did it?
Yeah, it's kind of a weasel-worded thing of like, oh, all religions are just as good as one another. But,
Yes, and Francis has reaffirmed that many, many times, especially in this, let's see, this popular video here. Remember, Francis says all religions lead to God. Once again, Catholics are out to lunch because they're always asking for contradictions. I don't just mean personal sins. No. The Pope cannot theologically teach error in any capacity. And that's why Honorius is condemned not for a private opinion, but for writing a letter that supported monothelitism. That was enough to condemn Pope Honorius. Even Ibarra admits this. So, no, when Francis says 100 times in the last 10 years this kind of nonsense, you can't swipe it, hand wave it as, it wasn't ex cathedra, it wasn't infallible. It doesn't matter. Infallible has nothing to do with whether the Roman See can teach error and defect. The rock of the See of Peter in Rome. So there's no... So anyway, you can go watch this video where we cover this.
If that's his contention,
he shouldn't be the Pope.
No, I mean,
how can you be the Pope if you say all religions are just as good?
Yeah, we all worship, So yeah, that's Pachamama.
No, in other words, how can the Roman Catholic Church be the one true church when it has essentially surrendered via Nostra Aetate and Lumen Gentium 16 the fundamentals of the gospel? Jesus is the only way, and Muslims do not also worship the same God as we do. But that's what two dogmatic statements at Vatican I say. And that's why the Pope goes and prays in the mosque towards Mecca.
There you go.
So he brought that in.
Yeah, into the Vatican. Then the hierarchy even worshipped. They had a ceremony around it outside.
What?
So, well, that constitutes apostasy.
Yeah.
That's an apostasy.
Yeah.
Right?
There we go. Hey, look. All the stuff you hear us talking about. Right there on Joe Rogan.
Worshipping false gods.
Yeah, that's number one on the Mosaic hit list. You know? Moses goes up on the mountain, he comes back down, people are worshiping a golden calf.
Remember when Lofton explained this away? Lofton said, "Hey, dude, it's just a symbol of Mary. It's just a symbol of Mary, dog. It's a symbol of Mary. Pachamama is a goddess. Mary is the mother of God. Therefore, Pachamama is a symbol of Mary, dog."
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. And for me, that's a departure from that's called apostasy.
Right.
That's a falling away from it. And the very nature.
And in Roman Catholic canon law, that's defined as apostasy. This is not just Mel Gibson's opinion. Roman Catholic canon law says that doing those kinds of actions as a prelate automatically excommunicate you because they're called actions of apostasy. In their canon law, look at Latae Sententiae ipso facto excommunications, and you'll see a list in their canon law, even in their modern canon law, of certain sins that are so grievous that they automatically excommunicate you from the Roman See, or from the mystical body of the Roman Catholic Church. One of those is abortion. If you get an abobo, you are automatically excommunicated. Another thing that automatically excommunicates you is heresy, schism, and apostasy. Auto excommunication. In other words, ipso facto, latae sententiae, without sentence, and by the very action itself. Again, whether the statements or actions are ex cathedra has absolutely nothing to do with whether they're actions of apostasy and whether they're heretical. Martin Luther was called a heretic because he taught obstinately multiple errors by the Roman Catholic Church. Martin Luther had no power or ability to teach ex cathedra or infallibly. So Martin Luther and excommunication is a great example there. His excommunication has nothing to do with the authority of your office to teach. So every time a Roman Catholic says it's not ex cathedra, it's not infallible, that's a deflection from the point. So what? Yeah, it doesn't matter. The authority of the document is irrelevant to whether the documents teach heresy. And if they teach heresy, then the Roman Catholic Church has defected because the Roman See has defected. It's that simple. Lath, $3. Have you seen the Gospel series by the Daily Wire? No, I've not.
Apostasy means that you have to be part of it to fall away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an inside job.
Ah.
So
It was an inside job by the well protected. Yeah, but if it's an inside job and the Roman See is defected, then Vatican I is not true and Roman Catholic dogma contradicts itself. So there is the link to the video where I go into that. Remember to get your tickets to Dark Secrets of the Horror Films, January 19th. You've got 10 days in Tampa, Florida. Everybody, I hope you can come. It's going to be fun. Book signing, book sales, we'll have all that, all the merch, all the fun things, all the fun stuff. Be sure and head over to chalk.com. Get your chalk in the show description link. And use promo code J40 to get 40% off. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's catch-up. A lot of fun. I think it was our biggest organic native audience. Now, it could have been Jim Bob. It could have been Crucible dumping. I'm not sure if they the chat was dumped over here. If so, thank you for that. If it wasn't, it was organically our largest audience yet. We hit 2,200, I think.